right?
Yeah.
Yes. So we're so excited. I'm excited for your talk. This is the talk called The Sacred Transformation. I mean, just that alone, right? Sacred Transformation of Menopause, and let menopause set you free. So welcome, Anna.
Thank you very much. I'm Anna Dunfeld, and I am a veteran aromatherapist with 35 years of guiding and coaching and working with women all over the world. But today we are not going to talk about aromatherapy. We're going to talk about the part of menopause that really attracted me. I was looking it over. I'm 64, so been there, done that, right? But it came to why, what? So my first point is, what is menopause? What's the point? What is menopause? Put in a chat just one word, what menopause would be for you. Just one word. Transformation. Thank you. No more periods. Yes, that's definitely that. So then there's, what's the point, right? Mother Nature, she is opportunities, thank you, change. And I like the Springfield MO electrical designer. I don't know how that fits in, but it's funny. Anyways, Mother Nature, she's like this incredibly wise woman. Everything she creates is so amazing and perfection, right? So why menopause? Now, every mammal on Earth comes to a point where there's a cessation of reproduction. Don't say menopause because that's connected to bleeding, and all animals don't have that system, but they all have a cessation of reproduction. If they live long enough, that will kick in. And then the question is, why did she, the big mama, why did she create the female nature in this way? That the female would have a cessation of reproduction, right? Very interesting. And what is the cessation of reproduction? So I see it as the human chrysalis. You know, chrysalis, when the larvae becomes a butterfly, I see it like that. So the larva, it's eating and chomping away. It's busy, 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 busy. And then it crawls in and it creates this pupa, say in Swedish, I don't know what it's in English, where it stays. And during this time in the chrysalis, the entire body of the larva breaks down and is transformed into an entirely different form that comes out, and that's the butterfly, right? For us people, it's said that it takes between 7 and 10 years for every cell in the body to be transformed and renewed. Now, menopause, from perimenopause and that whole journey, is around 7 to 10 years. And I believe this is our chrysalis, that there are such incredible changes taking place. And I don't believe that we do post-menopause. We become butterflies. You're not post-larvae, post-chrysalis, you're a butterfly. So when we go into this menopause, it's like that becomes our identity. And I think not. It's not our identity. It's a beautiful transformation. Now, going through the whole thing is like, what happens, one of the biggest things that happen in menopause that is really in your face clear is like estrogen goes down, right? It decreases. And when estrogen decreases, we go from external caretaking to internal caretaking. Somebody said that the women, that when they go into menopause and the estrogen decreases, they become more like dudes, right? And this is so because we as women, and caring for our community, whatever that community may look like, we are focused outwards with our care for our community and very little inwards. And I know the call yesterday, everybody was talking about setting borders, saying no, taking care of ourselves, going back to this because we tend to not do that as women. So when estrogen starts decreasing, that's where we go. Then everything turns inwards, and there is a reason for this. So women are then, of course, harder to control because they're doing what they want. You can't control them anymore. And this is the problem. So at this time, when we should really be accessing a deeply ingrained wisdom, ingrained by Mother Earth, ingrained in our very creation, in us, in every cell of our bodies, a natural movement, transformation in life, when that is supposed to happen, now this is distorted and taken away from us, and we've lost all contact with that. Why? Anybody have any ideas? Why? Why was that distorted? Why was that taken away? What was so explosive that it had to be taken away? Anybody have any ideas? Then put it in the chat. I'd say it's because females carry the biggest power in the world, the power to give life. We carry life. We create life. There is no power on earth bigger, larger, and deeper than the ability to give life. Now we're going to do a quick backflip to the cessation of reproduction. Men have no cessation of reproduction. They can spread their sperm until they die. And those sperms can still make babies, but a woman can't. A woman can't. So she is the carrier of life. She has the power of life, because it doesn't matter how many sperms men put out. If there isn't a woman, there ain't gonna be no baby, ain't gonna be no life. It's just waste. So this is the biggest power on earth, and that is a power that female carries. And going back, I think we're talking millenniums when the power shift between men and women first happened. I think this was one of the basic things. Control the woman, you control the life. Control the woman, you control the future of the planet. Voila, it's not a man's world. Voila, it's a woman's world. And how scary is that if the man wants it to be his world? And I'm not slagging off every man here. I'm just stating facts, just saying it as it is. So how do you control somebody? There's this really good story I love. And it's like, how do you keep the rabbits in their cage? How do you make them stay in their cage and not run away? You tell them there's a wolf outside, and they will stay in their cage. And this is what was done to us. Us women, we lost all our power, even over ourselves and beings. If you don't behave, I will take your children. I will put you out on the street. Women had nothing. And this put women in such a position of desperate need and loneliness and sensitivity. Excuse me for looking for words. I have brain fog, and sometimes it kicks in and I really seriously cannot find the words. But I think most of you know how that feels. Anyways, this is what happens. So women, they submit and they submit and they submit through history, because it's the only way to go, right? So by today, we're at a point where the original blueprint of the female transformation through life, not just starting the menstruation and being fertile and having babies and all of that, which is very happily talked about, and it's so good. We should all menstruate and have babies, hooray. But this next part, right? And that disappeared, and it became foggy, and then it came to this, that you're useless, you're ugly, you're old, you're invisible, you're not hot and sexy anymore, you're left over, you're a bitch. Remember the sinking of the estrogen? And this creates taboo. It creates fear, it creates silence, and it creates a tremendous amount of shame and confusion. And that is the silence we're dealing with today. I think that this is maybe what we're doing right now in this summit is historical. That this generation, our generation, we're the first women who are openly stepping up and saying, hey, something is going on and you need to start listening. Everybody needs to start listening because every single girl is going to go through this. Every single little girl that is born, she's going to come to this point. And I know the first time I really had a reaction to the whole menopause, I had no sense of it. My mama grabbed nothing. It was sort of a thing that happened. And in Sweden, we have this really ugly saying. It's called the klimakterie fitta or klimakteriehora. It is basically a menopausal bitch. So it's a shameful thing, right? And then when I started menopausing, I'm like, oh my God, this must be menopause because I had these heat waves and things going on. And I mentioned it to one of my daughters and she was like, oh, no, I don't want to hear, no, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this. And her reaction was energetically so strong that I backed up and I'm like, whoa, that was very strong reaction. I mean, they talked to me about everything, you know, what's going on downstairs and their sex lives and whatever, what have you. They're girls, right? But this was like so taboo. She didn't want to hear anything about it. And that's when I started doing my research and thinking, what is going on? Every girl is going to have this. It's fine to talk to young girls about menstruation, but you can't talk to girls about menopause. Then it's going to happen. My oldest daughter is going into perimenopause now. I have two little grandchildren girls. So this is what happened. So I set out to just check out. And I asked women and I said, give me one word. With one word, tell me what menopause is for you. And I had over 150 replies very quickly. And this is in like 2 or 3 days. 93% were negative. And not a little bit negative, but bad negative. Hell, anguish, awful, death, make it go away. It was so negative, and it really hurt me to hear that because unbeknownst to them, this is what they were saying to themselves. This is what they were calling themselves, saying to themselves every day. And what does that do to us? When we are so negative towards our own person, we're all water. Water is vibration. I think this was also, somebody talked about this yesterday on the call. Yes, Jenny, right? And she's absolutely right. So then I started looking further and I started looking at different cultures. I was born and raised in Japan. So I went back to all the lady friends there and they said, oh, no, we don't really talk about it. It's very private. But recently in the 80s, they actually created a word for menopause. That is, I don't remember the word, but it's basically the second spring. But in their culture, the older women in and after menopause, the butterflies, shall we say, they are so important and they're considered one of the most important parts of society to bring up the little children with all their knowledge and experience, right? The Qatars, a lot of indigenous people, they have, the women can go off there on their own during the menopause, but it's not because they're unclean. It's because they are going through something important, and it's not something ugly, because this is the power of the women. When they come into menopause, they become leaders. They become the sacred woman, the trusted leader, the medicine woman, priestesses, shamans. The Qatars had that the women after menopause were usually made leaders, tribe leaders, and priestesses, because it was considered that they had so much experience of life that nobody could really beat that. So they became very important people. And today, we're also finding that women who have a positive outlook on menopause have 30% less symptoms than women who have a negative programming of what menopause is. So with all of these different things going on, a lot of it is in darkness because we don't know. It hasn't been spoken about. Nobody told us about this. Nobody said that it was going to happen. Nobody said how it was going to happen. But actually, women, and this is what Mother Nature, we're going back to her now where we started. Why did Mother Nature make this happen? Because she needed leaders. Women are the leaders of the future. Like if we look at our world, a global tribe, women are leaders of a tribe. They lead the young ones, the grandchildren. They are focused on themselves, so they keep their strength and their health. And they are really, really important part of society because, as everybody knows, women live longer than men. Women have a higher survival rate than men. Women and men, if they fall into cold water, women survive, men die. Men die. Women move into the future. Women move the next generation into the future. And that is what makes her so important. So, there we go. Nice little circle. What was Mother Nature thinking? This was what she was thinking. Give the stability to the world, a stability to the future, somebody to carry the memories and the history. And this was taken away along the line. Okay, I think somebody is talking. Anyway, so I think my time is about up. But anyways, this is what I want to say. That is why we are important. That is why we are important. And we need to start taking control. Then it's all the rest. The symptoms, the lifestyle, food, exercise, diet, blah, blah, blah. All of these things, fine. There are other speakers on this summit. They're going to talk about that and do it really, really well. I wanted to give you this focus, this thought pattern, and this idea today. So thank you very much for listening. And I know Regina put my free gift. I have a gift for you all. Cute little booklet, very useful. And also my calendar link. And if Regina, if you could put them up again in the chat, because we've gone so far past. And I do have a program around menopause, and I will run it again in a month or so. So if you're interested or you want to know more, book a call with me and we'll see what I can do for you. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the summit.